What if I told you there's a specific dollar amount that once you hit it means you never have to work another day in your life? Not a rough estimate, not some vague be a millionaire advice, an actual precise number based on real dividend data. Today, I'm going to give you three of those numbers, one for each type of lifestyle, and break down exactly why this strategy beats almost everything else out there for building a retirement that actually gets better over time. Let's talk about why most people miscalculate retirement completely. The classic advice is the 4% rule. Pull out 4% of your portfolio every year, and theoretically, your money lasts forever. But here's the problem nobody talks about: you're constantly selling shares. Every year, a little piece of your principal disappears. Over a long retirement, that erosion becomes a serious psychological and financial burden. SCHD works differently. This is a dividend-focused ETF that pays you income without you ever needing to sell a single share. Your principal sits untouched forever. You're living off the cash the fund generates, not off the sale of your assets. That changes everything about how you plan. Now, here's where it gets genuinely exciting. SCHD currently yields around 3.63%. Yeah, that's slightly under 4%, but the fund has raised its dividend every year since 2011 at an average annual growth rate of roughly 12.8%. Inflation historically runs around 3%, but in recent years, it's been higher. Still, that means your income grows around 4 times the rate of inflation. While other retirees slowly lose purchasing power and quietly downgrade their lifestyles, you're actually getting richer in retirement. Your income keeps climbing while your cost of living barely budges by comparison. And when you eventually pass on, your heirs inherit the full investment intact. That's not just retirement planning, that's generational wealth building. Let's get into the actual numbers with three real world scenarios. Scenario one is what I'd call the comfortable minimalist approach. You want around $3,500 per month, which translates to $42,000 annually after taxes. This lifestyle covers a paid off modest home or reasonable rent, one reliable vehicle, groceries, utilities, healthcare, internet, and a little cushion for unexpected expenses. Not lavish, but genuinely stress free. Here's the tax angle that makes this powerful. Qualified dividends, which is exactly what SCHD pays, are taxed at dramatically lower rates than ordinary income. If you're a single filer, roughly the first $47,000 in qualified dividends gets taxed at 0%. Married couples get close to double that threshold. So at $42,000 annually, you're paying no federal income tax whatsoever. Your gross and net income are essentially the same number. The math: 42,000 divided by a 3.63% yield lands you at approximately $1.16 million. That's your floor. Hit that number and you're generating $3,500 every single month without selling anything. And remember that 12.8% growth rate? By year five, that same investment is producing closer to $5,600 monthly. By year 10, you're looking at over $11,000 per month, while inflation has only pushed your actual needs to maybe $4,700. You end up with surplus income that compounds year after year. Scenario two is comfortable living for a couple in a mid cost state. Think North Carolina, Texas, or somewhere similar. You want $5,500 monthly, around $66,000 per year. This buys you a nice home in a solid neighborhood, two good vehicles, dining out regularly, at least one real vacation annually, premium health care, and genuine peace of mind around money. At this income level, you'll owe a small amount of federal tax. After accounting for that, you need roughly $71,000 in gross dividend income. Divide 71,000 by 3.63%, and you get approximately $1.96 million. Under 2 million gets you true financial freedom as a couple. And with dividend growth doing its thing, that 5,500 monthly becomes nearly 14,000 a month by year 10, while your inflation adjusted needs are only around 7,500. That's an extra $6,500 monthly you can reinvest, donate, travel with, or just enjoy guilt-free. Scenario 3 is full luxury retirement, high-end home, luxury vehicles, international travel multiple times per year, concierge level healthcare. You need around $8,500 monthly. At this income level, you'll be slightly into the 15% qualified dividend bracket. So you need roughly $117,000 in gross dividends to net that amount. Divide by 3.63%, and you're looking at approximately $2.95 million. Hit that target, and money genuinely becomes irrelevant in your daily life. By year 10, that $8,500 monthly has grown to over $22,000 per month. Now, there are four variables that can shift these numbers, and you need to become familiar with them. First, early retirement before Medicare eligibility at 65. Private health insurance before Medicare can cost around $2,000 monthly. Retiring at 55 means roughly a decade of extra coverage costs, which could add over $600,000 to your required investment in scenario 1. Second, state taxes matter enormously. 9 states charge zero state income tax, including Florida, Texas, Nevada, Tennessee, and a few others. Choosing one of these states versus somewhere like California or New York could mean a difference of $200,000 or more in required investment. Third, inflation protection. As we've covered, SCHD's historical dividend growth crushes inflation so decisively that this is actually a strength, not a concern. Your income trajectory bends upward while costs barely creep. Fourth, market crash resilience. When stocks dropped 33% in 2020, SCHD's dividend actually increased. Same story in the 2022 downturn. Because you're living off dividends and never selling shares, market volatility becomes almost irrelevant to your daily financial reality. The income keeps flowing regardless of what prices do on any given day. So let's lock in your three target numbers: around 1.16 million for a comfortable single lifestyle at 3,500 monthly, around 1.96 million for a comfortable couple's lifestyle at 5,500 monthly, around 2.95 million for full luxury at 8,500 monthly. Adjust upward for early retirement or high tax states. The part that genuinely separates this strategy from everything else is that you're not just preserving wealth, you're growing it in retirement. Your income rises, your principal stays whole, and the entire amount transfers to your family when you're gone. Which scenario are you targeting right now? Drop it in the comments. If you found this valuable, hit subscribe, because I break down exactly this kind of number-driven financial planning every single week in other videos on the channel. See you in the next one.